So what was going on? I mean, how did you come to be there? What was it like being there? Obviously, we want to know everything.
It was really strange. I can't believe I got asked to do it. They did season 1 and it was very successful for them. And they wanted other people from the Netflix family to come on board. And she had watched Queer Eye and was really fascinated by what I do on Queer Eye and asked if I would join. I had such a wonderful day. I couldn't believe I was asked, and I felt so honoured to be there. I really did. The production is massive. I've never seen a larger production. And they treated me so beautifully. And she was so kind to me. And I'd never met her before then. And I thought, oh, she might be quite reserved. There's probably a certain way you can and can't be with her. But I was really particular before I went in. I said, I'm myself. I'm a northern boy. I'm from South Yorkshire and I don't know how to be fancy. And so I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to swear. I'm like, be whoever you want. I think that was quite jarring for everyone. There's a lot that got cut out.
And was she shocked by you, or was she amused, or both?
She wasn't shocked. It was surprised that no one talked to her the way I think I was speaking to her. I can't say here because we're on live TV, but the way I would speak to my gay friends or my girlfriends, that's how I was talking to her. There was no filter. And I think she was just relieved that somebody was treating her like everybody else.
And what were you doing? Were you meant to be cooking, or was she meant to be cooking? What was meant to be happening?
I was meant to be teaching her how to make my mother-in-law's French toast, and then she was going to teach me a craft, which she did. And then in the evening we went to the beach and had a lovely time there. It was a full 2 days of just they treated me beautifully.
I mean, you live in this. Are you still friends with Meghan?
Yeah, we text. We have a special relationship.
How is she?
Lovely, really well. Yeah, really well.
Would you ever consider giving her fashion advice or styling her?
She doesn't. Do you know what? She dresses wicked. She doesn't need my advice. She's a really chic dresser. I like the way she dresses a lot. I won't give advice unless somebody asks, but even if she asks, there's nothing I could say. She usually looks fab.
Okay, all good, all lovely stuff. I'm gonna.
If there is one thing the British media can be counted on doing, it is turn the simplest thing into a national emergency. A woman makes jam. Crisis. A woman arranges flowers. Scandal. A woman pours pretzels into a decorative bag. Apparently, civilization is collapsing before our very eyes. And yet, after years of headlines, outrage, think pieces, panel discussions, royal commentators, anonymous palace sources, and professional Meghan watchers who seem to dedicate their entire lives to being upset by a woman they've never met, something very inconvenient keeps happening. People who actually spend time with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, keep saying the exact same thing. She's kind. She's warm. She's funny. She's thoughtful. She's welcoming. It's almost becoming a problem for an industry built around convincing the public of the exact opposite. And that brings us to Tan France. Now, before we dive in, let's appreciate what just happened. Tan France, one of the stars of Netflix's Queer Eye, appeared on television and was asked about his experience filming with Love Meghan. This wasn't a promotional interview for Meghan. This wasn't a Netflix commercial. This wasn't a carefully scripted Sussex production. This was simply someone being asked a question about someone he had worked with. And what happened? The narrative completely fell apart. Because instead of delivering the criticism some people were clearly hoping for, Tan proceeded to sing Meghan's praises from beginning to end. You could almost hear certain tabloid editors dropping their teacups. Not again! Not another person who actually met her! The problem for Meghan's critics has always been this. People who know Meghan tend to like Meghan. People who have never met Meghan tend to write entire novels explaining why nobody should like Meghan. It's a fascinating business model when you think about it. Imagine reviewing restaurants you've never visited, reviewing movies you've never watched, reviewing books you've never read. Yet somehow, when it comes to Meghan, entire careers have been built on exactly that principle. Tan, however, actually spent time with her, and his description was refreshingly straightforward. He said he felt honored to be invited, he described the production as massive, he talked about how well he was treated, and most importantly, he talked about Meghan herself. According to Tan, she was kind, simple, direct. No hesitation, no dramatic pause, no secret hidden criticism disguised as a compliment, just kind. It's amazing how revolutionary basic honesty has become. What struck me most was when Tan admitted he was expecting something different. Let's be honest, after years of relentless headlines, who wouldn't? The media has spent nearly a decade portraying Meghan as everything from... At this point, if it rained in London, somebody would probably write, "Sources suggest Meghan's influence cannot be ruled out." Yet Tan arrived and discovered something shocking. Reality. A concept that has become increasingly unpopular in certain royal reporting circles. He said she was warm. He said she was welcoming. He said she was easy to talk to. What a devastating revelation. Imagine spending years constructing an elaborate villain story only for people who meet the villain to keep reporting back, "Actually, she was lovely." That must be exhausting. And then came the moment that really stood out. Tan explained that he told everyone beforehand he was simply going to be himself. No filters, no special treatment, no walking on eggshells, no bowing, no scraping, no acting nervous. Just a normal human interaction. And according to him, Meghan embraced it. In fact, he suggested she was relieved by it. Think about that for a moment. For years, we've heard endless stories portraying Meghan as someone demanding special treatment. Yet Tan's takeaway was the exact opposite. He felt she appreciated being treated like a regular person. Because maybe, just maybe, that's all she's ever wanted. The irony here is almost painful. The same people who accuse Meghan of wanting special treatment are often the very people refusing to treat her normally. Every move becomes a headline, every outfit becomes a debate, every photograph becomes a controversy, every social media post becomes a parliamentary inquiry. Meanwhile, Tan walks in, treats her like any other person, and they end up getting along wonderfully. Funny how that works. Then there was another moment that deserves attention. When criticism of "With Love, Meghan" came up, Tan could have easily joined in. Many people would have. The safe route would have been to laugh, make a joke, throw in a little criticism, give the audience what they expected. Instead, he calmly explained something many commentators have struggled to understand. The show wasn't necessarily made for them. I know, a shocking concept. Not every television show on Earth is specifically designed for the British tabloid press. Somebody alert the authorities. Tan explained that the show reflects a very American sense of hospitality and entertaining. And he's right. The endless outrage over pretzels, bows, flowers, and charcuterie boards says far more about the critics than it does about Meghan. Let's be honest, nobody was forced to make decorative gift bags. Nobody was legally obligated to arrange fruit aesthetically. Nobody was sentenced to making dog biscuits. The show was lifestyle entertainment. That's it. People acted as though Meghan had appeared on screen demanding citizens reorganize their kitchens under threat of imprisonment. The reaction was wildly disproportionate. But perhaps that's because the criticism was never really about pretzels. It was never really about ribbons. It was never really about vegetables. Because if it were, we'd see this level of outrage directed at every lifestyle personality. We don't. The reason is simple. For some people, Meghan herself is the story. Everything else is just the excuse. And that's where Tan's comments become so powerful, because he stripped away all the noise. No palace intrigue, no anonymous sources, no royal gossip. Just one person describing another person. And the picture he painted was entirely human. Kind, friendly, funny, easygoing, normal. That word must be particularly irritating to people who have spent years insisting she's some sort of calculating mastermind operating 14-dimensional chess moves from Montecito. Because normal people don't fit dramatic narratives. Normal people don't sell outrage. Normal people simply live their lives. Another part of the interview that deserves attention is what happened when Vanessa Feltz repeatedly returned to criticism of the show. Now, to be fair, interviewers ask questions. That's their job. But it became increasingly clear that Tan wasn't interested in participating in the negativity. Every time criticism appeared, he redirected the conversation back to his actual experience. And that's important because first-hand experience matters. A lot. We live in an age where opinions often carry more weight than facts. People who have never met Meghan speak with extraordinary certainty about her personality. People who have never worked with Meghan confidently describe what she's supposedly like behind closed doors. Meanwhile, someone who actually spent 2 days with her says she was wonderful, and suddenly everyone wants to explain why his own experience somehow doesn't count. It's bizarre. Imagine telling someone, I know you spent 2 days with her, but let me explain what she's really like. That's essentially where we've arrived. Then came the moment that probably caused a few headaches in tabloid offices. Tan casually revealed that they still text. Just like that. No drama, no grand announcement, no publicity stunt. Just a simple acknowledgement that they remained in touch. That one sentence says more than 1,000 headlines. Because friendships are voluntary. Nobody is forcing Tan to maintain communication with Meghan. Nobody is requiring him to text her. Nobody is paying him to stay connected. He chooses to. Which suggests that his positive comments aren't performative. They're genuine. And that's where the anti-Meghan narrative repeatedly encounters a brick wall. The more people actually interact with her, the harder it becomes to sustain the caricature. Whether it's colleagues, friends, charity partners, Netflix collaborators, or event organizers, the pattern keeps repeating. Positive experience, positive experience, positive experience. At some point, reasonable people begin noticing the trend. And then we get to fashion. Now, if there is one area where Tan France's opinion carries weight, it's style. The man literally built a career around fashion expertise. So when he was asked whether he would give Meghan styling advice, his answer was fascinating. Basically, no need. He said she already dresses well. He called her chic. He said she usually looks fabulous. Again, not exactly the response critics were hoping for. Because here's the thing. You can disagree with Meghan, you can dislike Meghan, you can criticize Meghan, but pretending she doesn't have influence in fashion is like pretending rain isn't wet. Every time she wears something, people talk about it. Every time she appears publicly, fashion publications cover it. That's not opinion, that's reality. And hearing that acknowledged by someone with actual expertise only reinforces the point. What makes this entire interview interesting isn't that Tan praised Meghan, it's why he praised her. He wasn't defending a friend under attack. He wasn't settling scores. He wasn't launching a campaign. He was simply answering questions honestly. And honesty has become surprisingly disruptive in this particular conversation. For years, we've been told that Meghan is impossible to work with. Yet, people keep saying she was great to work with. We've been told she's difficult. People keep saying she's easygoing. We've been told she's cold. People keep saying she's warm. We've been told she's arrogant. People keep saying she's welcoming. At some point, somebody has to acknowledge the contradiction, because eventually, reality starts demanding a seat at the table. What this interview really highlights is the growing divide between first-hand experiences and manufactured narratives. One side consists of people who have actually interacted with Meghan. The other consists largely of people commenting from afar. And increasingly, the first-hand accounts are winning. Not because they're perfect, not because Meghan is perfect, nobody is, but because direct experience is generally more persuasive than speculation. What Tan provided was direct experience, and it completely dismantled years of assumptions in just a few minutes. No shouting, no drama, no grand confrontation, just calm honesty. Sometimes that's the most powerful thing of all. By the end of the interview, what were viewers left with? A television personality who enjoyed working with Meghan, a person who felt honored to be invited, a guest who described being treated beautifully, a fashion expert who praised her style, a colleague who still texts her, and someone who seemed genuinely confused by the level of negativity surrounding her. Not exactly the devastating exposé some people were hoping for. In fact, it was the exact opposite. And perhaps that's why moments like this matter. Because every now and then, somebody steps outside the noise and simply tells the truth about their own experience. No agenda, no palace briefings, no anonymous insiders, no dramatic headlines. Just reality. And reality can be incredibly inconvenient when you've spent years selling a different story. For Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, this interview was another reminder that while critics continue obsessing over pretzels, bows, flower arrangements, and lifestyle shows, the people who actually spend time with her keep walking away with remarkably positive impressions. That doesn't mean everyone has to become a fan. It doesn't mean everyone has to watch her show. It doesn't mean everyone has to agree with every decision she makes. But it does mean that the caricature becomes harder and harder to sustain because reality has a stubborn habit of showing up. And this week, reality arrived in the form of Tan France, a man who spent time with Meghan, worked alongside her, remained friends with her, and then went on live television and told the world exactly what his experience was. Kind, warm, funny, welcoming, lovely. Not exactly the monster some people ordered, and somewhere one imagines a few professional Meghan critics stared into the distance, wondering how, after all these years, another first-hand witness once again forgot to read the script. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.